you know.
Yeah.
The topic is gonna be about gender roles and expectations, but the subject is gonna be on, the Salem witch trials, but more modern to a man's perspective, because we're now the victims of it. Stop it, Les. Go away. Yeah. So, what do you guys think about this?
Um, well, first thing, I think that's a very true term because now men are being hunted for their, you know, perspectives on things and how they, feel about stuff. And so, like, you know, it's very it's complicated, but it's also not in the same way. If that makes any sense, it probably doesn't. But like
Hmm.
nowadays, men are no longer treated as equal to women, and I feel like women are more like controlling now.
I
Like remember in
mean,
the
it's mainly the
like the
society,
relationship.
is it not? I mean, society will most likely take a woman's side over a man's side because
Yeah,
society thinks a man can take care of themselves.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is like part of the thing, but most false accusations don't like you know
Have a
they
fair
affect
trial.
mainly the man and not the
Hmm.
woman.
All right.
True.
And it's I feel like women get like a way easier ride through life while men have to deal with things on their own.
Like how the talk show, The Real, has like a whole entire talk show just meant for women, right? Like how
Oh
they talk
yeah,
about women's suffrage
there's
and
more
all
than
that.
that. There's the Drew
So,
show. There's like a whole bunch, and you don't see one about a man
hmm,
because I feel like a man's perspectives and their beliefs on things are like pretty much non-existent when it comes to society.
at least on the news and like the media, that's not like YouTube,
Maybe the
considered
media.
red pill and all that.
Yeah.
Do you guys what do you think about the judicial system when it comes to this situation with how they're handling things?
Well, it could be handled a lot better, but
Yeah.
You guys have any ideas that could be
I
handled a
feel
lot
like they
better?
should take both perspectives with a grain of salt, but also view them, as things that can be trusted. You know what it means to take something as a grain of salt, right?
yeah, don't
Yeah.
take it as
Yeah.
don't take it lightly.
Don't take it like don't take it face value. Take it as if there's more to the story than the person is telling.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I feel like the entire justice system should do because I feel like, with the amount of false accusations in the rape cases, there's just like so many of them that like, it's just a common occurrence now. And I feel like that's mainly on the justice system and how they normally do stuff.
Okay. I mean, my piece is that I feel like they should do a little bit more of innocent until proven guilty
Yeah.
situation, because they don't do that anymore. I don't even think they do that for any cases anymore at this point.
Yeah, I feel
They
like
rarely do
whenever
it.
it's with a man and a woman, the man is always guilty till proven
Guilty.
not guilty.
Yeah, and sometimes it's like men get faced harder trials and stuff, and their
Yeah.
cases, like, they're a whole lot more or less just sentenced heavier than a woman for the same crime, at least.
Yeah.
So I believe that you guys are right about them having to look at with a grain of salt. But I do feel like they should give it a little bit more equality, as they always try to push for, even though it's never really the same thing.
Yeah. It's just like they could be handling this way better, but I feel like they don't have. Not even they don't have. They just don't, feel like doing stuff
Hmm.
to like help the men of the society.
And to achieve actual equality, as you
Yeah,
one would say.
because right now equality is just something that people say to feel like so they're like
Better.
improving on life.
Yeah,
To feel better
It's like
about-
a false belief right now.
yeah. I agree with what Jalen was saying earlier. To feel better, to be honest, because
Yeah.
most of the time, it's usually not even like the same thing. You could talk about how men and women have different ways of getting a date, because for women, they just like, I've always heard this in podcasts and so many other men talk about this because it's the truth, where women are more or less the market value, right? When they're young, towards older men with higher value, right? So rich men, they don't look for older women, because why would they when they can get younger women who look nicer and could be a housewife, right? So if we reverse that, right? Most women, around 10 to 20%, I mean, not women, but men that are average, maybe even younger, and don't have that sort of high value, 10 to 20% of them actually get a date or actually have some sort of relationship of some sort with women.
Yeah.
So we have a harder time in general with just trying to get a date. So let alone with that fact, that it shows a little bit more inequality just by simply having a relationship with a woman.
And I don't know where, but I read this article, this news article, that like this men's PTSD depression facility was being ransacked by feminists. And like they're being all called like weak and tired, or like not tired, but like terrible, and like they should be meant for women. And honestly, I think that's completely fucking. Ooh, wow.
Ooh.
Sorry about that. I think that's completely disgusting, because it's just like, how do you do that to a person and feel good about yourself? Like, I'm honestly kind of mad at how society has shaped these women, because they shape them to believe that they are everything and they are completely, like, you know, untouchable, when in reality they are human, they are mortal, you know.
Honestly, the way that they're handling things, the feminists, I mean, at this point, so this is like, it feels like a slur word to even say feminist at this point, because of how many things they have done. Just like, they've stopped lots of
It's really
programs, and
offensive to like people who actually want gender equality.
yeah, there's a lot of women out there that actually do believe that men and women should be equal, and to the same extent, like, they believe in what men say too. But it's just because I wouldn't like to say a minority at this point, because it's become a lot more than just a minority. Of even news like CNBC, CBS, all that, they're talking about this too. It's not just, I don't know, CNN or whatever. If it was just that, then like then I could say it's a minority. But it's become a widespread thing that I think even third world countries are like kind of taking it to a serious approach, but they're not using it in the same perspective as this is America, because they're just looking at it through American lenses. We are just a first world country that like to believe that we're having lots of problems with our social economy and all that, even though we're not. We really shouldn't have this much problem. Yeah, I think the most that we should have a problem with is with how our judicial system and economic system are. But because there's almost no problem in a first world country, we have to make a new problem in order to feel the need to fix it. I mean, that's my
actually
idea.
kinda like that. That's very accurate.
Yeah. I mean,
in reality, in actuality, in any, like, in constellation with that, like, past feminists, I think I saw an interview on YouTube about these, like, feminists, like really old feminists in the, like, the 1900s. And they were like interviewing them and say, how do you feel about this present day feminism? And all of them were like, it's become a joke now.
Yeah.
It's become completely about a want instead of a need. Like a want for power instead of a need for, like, equal rights.
Yeah.
Because right now, a woman can do anything and be less charged than a man.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's unjust.
Just to have some, variety of what we're talking about. What do you have to say, Jalen? Like, what's your thoughts?
Yeah.
Well, I just think people who call themselves feminists, well, it depends on what they think themselves as, like, feminists. Like, people who just force the ideals as feminists, or people who just say, hey, I just think women could have more equal pay as men, instead of, like,